So a new trailer for Black Widow dropped 2 days ago. I'm late to the party, finally watching it. Let's do this.
You don't know everything about me. I've lived a lot of lives. Before I was an Avenger. Before I got this family. I made mistakes choosing between what the world wants you to be and who you are. We have to go back to where it all started.
Where did you think I was all this time?
We have unfinished business.
My girls are the toughest girls in the world.
I'm sorry. We had our orders and we played our roles.
It wasn't real.
It was real to me. To me, you were everything.
Bring her
Here we go.
home.
Put your seatbelts on. She's such a mom.
One thing's for sure. I'm done running from my past.
That's That looks like our whole trailer. All right, real quick before I give you my thoughts on it, go ahead and let me know what you thought down below in the comment section. You've had 2 days to process it, most likely. I just watched it for the first time. So I'm gonna watch it one more time, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. Okie dokie, so this is one of these movies where it's a little bit weird because we've been watching trailers for Black Widow since 2019, and therefore it's a movie that it almost feels like we've had the payoff of having already seen it, even though we haven't seen the movie. It just, they stopped promoting it, and it's tough to get that momentum going again. So it's a weird one because it's like, haven't I already seen this trailer? Like, there's some new stuff, add a little bit. Haven't I already seen this? But that's the tough situation we're in because of the pandemic and everything delaying all these movies, and therefore we're just in a weird situation where movies are being promoted for much longer than you would normally promote a film, and I think it loses a little bit of its momentum, its urgency, its oomph, when it just feels like you've been watching the same trailer and the same stuff forever. And they're in a tough spot because they need to do something new to start promoting the actual release date that's going to happen, but they've already done their full promotional campaign a year ago. And that's just an unfortunate situation for them to be in. But as for the trailer itself, I think they pretty wisely are trying to add as little new footage as possible, at least when it comes to the main plot line, while still kind of giving you a little bit more. So the first 40 seconds, first third of it, 40% of it, it's all stuff from previous MCU movies kind of establishing her story, but reframing it with her narration of like how to interpret those events that we saw in light of her actual experience that we haven't seen yet, that other side to her. I think it's probably a good idea. And then there's a lot of those similar shots that we saw before with just a little bit added on to it of the sequence where Taskmaster is shooting the arrow at the car. She does the flippy thing onto the rail. All these shots we've seen before, but there's just a little bit more added on. And most of the new stuff we got related to that family that she had before and establishing what their dynamic was, the deception that it was, and how each of them perceive of it now and then. So it develops the character side without really giving us too much more about the plot. Like if you asked me to sit down and dissect all the footage we've gotten thus far and try and give you the 3-point outline, 3-act outline of this movie, I couldn't do it. I don't know what the pieces are, how it kind of comes together. Some idea of she's probably on the run because of Civil War, and she goes to try and maybe reunite or gets an email, some connection back to those, something that makes her go back to check out what's up with them, and then Taskmaster's hunting them down or her down or something like that. Something like that. But that's a synopsis. That's a very simple synopsis. It's not a beat-by-beat understanding of what the flow of the story is and which thing is whatsy. So, in general, as many have said, and many will continue to say, this feels like a movie that really should have come out 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before her character died. So it feels late, but it feels like a movie that I wanted to see in some format. My preference actually would have been to give her a Disney Plus TV show, because she's a spy, and therefore I thought it lends itself really nicely to a TV show. They went with the movie. That's fine. It means we'll get more spectacle to it. Like, when I watch this trailer, every time it goes through those shots of like the plane exploding and they're running down wings and battling while falling through the sky, that's the stuff that's not the most interesting to me, because it's all so spectacular, except with a character that's a human, and therefore it feels like unnecessary spectacle. I'd rather see practical, real stunt work with her, because we know they didn't actually throw ScarJo out of a plane that's exploding and put her on a wing. So I'd rather see kind of the practical stunt work with a character like this. But, am I going to watch the movie and be as excited as... Of course I am. Am I going to love it? Almost certainly. I'll thoroughly enjoy the film, because the MCU has an amazing track record. The trailers look good, and I like that it's a story that's not trying to top Phase 3. They didn't try and kick off the movie side of Phase 4 with blowing the whole... Like, how can we top what we did before? They're like, no. Let's tell a personal story about one of our Avengers who was always the side character. Let's put her front and center, explore her backstory, even her childhood, and more character-based rather than trying to go bigger and better. That's probably a good decision to do a little bit of reworking. We'll see how it plays out. I'm so excited for MCU movies to actually be coming out again. This is pretty wild. By the time this movie comes out, there will be a 2-year gap between MCU movies. I mean, mind-blowing. It hasn't happened since Incredible Hulk to Iron Man 2, and even that wasn't a 2-year gap, but this is a slightly longer gap than that was. So, crazy times, but hey, of all the crazy things going on in the world right now, delaying at the MCU, pretty small things to care about. Let me know what you thought down below in the comment section. Come back tomorrow. I'll have my Space Jam reaction for you, and keep talking movies too much.